All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Atlanta FileMaker Developer. Today is October 4th. I think, right? Yep.
Good job.
That was a challenge. And all right, so let's start out today. We'll go around the room and do our introductions, and everyone can say their name. My name is David Nayadil from Blue Feather, and I'll turn this around here.
Carol Cook. I work with Earl Cook at Laser Solutions.
Yeah, Earl Cook, Laser Solutions.
I'm Junior. I work at 360 Works.
I'm Erica Kidd. I work at Blue Feather with David.
Christy with Mac Advantage.
Okay. And our presenter today is Andrew Duncan from Databuzz, and he's going to be talking about integrating FileMaker with Xero, Shopify, and WooCommerce. So this should be pretty good. And I'm going to turn this over to you now. Let's see here, get you up. And there you go, Andrew.
How do I share my screen again? Sorry.
Hit the green icon, the green monitor icon on the left side.
Oh, yep. Okay, cool. Excellent. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
And that's all okay resolution-wise?
Looks good.
Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for inviting me in. My name's Andrew Duncan from Databuzz, and it's actually the future down here. It's October the 5th, not the 4th. So I just did a quick slide deck, nothing too much. So just a bit about Databuzz and myself. Databuzz is a FileMaker Business Alliance member based in Sydney, Australia. I've been building FileMaker solutions for about 25 years now, since about 1992, which is as far back as my memory seems to go these days. We bill ourselves as FileMaker integration experts. That's become our sort of focus over the last sort of 5 or 10 years, integrating FileMaker with external sort of web services, APIs, other platforms. And we're a FileMaker certified developer, and we're also a Xero approved developer. Here's all our sort of contact details. If you want to contact me on Twitter or Facebook or email, feel free to reach out at any time after the presentation. So as I mentioned here, we bill ourselves as FileMaker integration experts, and here's some of the platforms that we integrate a lot with these days. So Xero for cloud accounting, Shopify and WooCommerce for online e-commerce, Twilio for sort of programmable SMS and voice messaging. fmSMS is actually our first product that we ever released a long time ago now that lets you send and receive SMS messages using FileMaker. So we're going to start off in terms of the demos with Xero. Has anyone there actually heard of Xero, just out of interest?
Here. Yep, we got some people.
Excellent. Yeah, so I've been exhibiting at the FileMaker Developer Conference for many years now, and every year I go, I sort of get a bit of feedback about how well-known Xero is in sort of North America at least. And I think the first year I went, literally no one had heard of Xero, and then the next year, one person or two people had, and then I think last year there were probably like 5 to 10 people that had heard of Xero. So it's not that well known in your part of the world, although it's sort of becoming more popular. But it's huge over in my part of the world, in New Zealand, Australia, Asia, and the UK, and it'll become more. You'll hear more about it over the sort of coming years as it grows in popularity in North America.
Xero, an alternative to QuickBooks, right?
Essentially, yeah. But it's cloud only, so it's an alternative to QuickBooks Online, not the desktop versions. So Xero was founded in 2006, and it builds itself as easy to use but powerful online accounting system that was born in the cloud. So it's cloud only. It's all browser based, or there is an app for the iPhone and the iPad and the Android, and it runs on the AWS platform, the Amazon Web Services platform. So same platform as the FileMaker Cloud platform. So it's over 10 years old now. They've got over 1 million subscribers in over 180 countries. The main market's been New Zealand, Australia, and the UK, where it's the #1 cloud accounting platform. And the North America is its fastest growing market at the moment. One of the secrets to its success is it's an open platform. So they realized early on that there were many strategic advantages in having an open platform. So they built out an API pretty quickly in the early days, and that API has enabled them to have over an add-on marketplace with over 600 add-ons, everything from automating receipts to integrations with HR software and purchase orders and approvals and all that sort of stuff. So there's a massive community out there of, in the Xero ecosystem, as they like to call it. And probably their sort of killer feature from day one was automating bank feeds into Xero. So every morning you log into Xero and the bank statement from yesterday is automatically being populated. You don't have to export it and import it. And Xero done some studies and they found out the most popular time for bank reconciliation is often at 7 a.m. in the morning when people wake up, roll over, turn on their iPhone, log into Xero and or open up the Xero app and then quickly do a reconciliation, and that takes like sort of 30 seconds. So people are doing bank reconciliations in bed now. And being a cloud platform, they can deliver updates quickly. There's no app to download and install. You just open up your browser and it's there. So in their last financial year, they delivered 1,500 updates, and they're going to deliver another couple of thousand in their current financial year as well. So you can go to the Xero.com website and you can sign up for a free trial, and you can create a demo company with lots of demo data, sort of have a play with it. And so our journey with Xero started in about 2013, 2014 financial year. We moved our company from, we were using MYB at the time, to Xero. And there are a number of reasons for that, and we were a bit hesitant in the early years to go from a desktop system to a cloud system, but we quickly realized there were a number of advantages to that. I could be online in Xero, and so could my bookkeeper, and so could my accountant, all 3 different locations, all working on the same set of accounts. So we loved Xero really quickly, but we face the same problem that a lot of our customers face, where you're probably using FileMaker to run your business, to record your customers, to be your CRM, to generate invoices and record payments and send invoices to customers. But you might need to get that data into your accounting software at the end of the day, so it can be reconciled and all the taxes can be worked out, and returns lodged with the tax department and so on. But one of the reasons we chose Xero was we knew it had an API and it was starting to become quite popular, and having worked with a lot of APIs, we felt sort of confident that we could get FileMaker talking to Xero. So with a plugin, essentially, is how you need to do it, because FileMaker doesn't offer the native functionality to handle some of the parts of the API integration. I'll talk a bit about that later, but FileMaker 16 certainly makes this a lot easier, but you still need a plugin to do some of the stuff. We were able to come up with a solution that lets us upload data from FileMaker to Xero. So typically that's customer data, invoices, maybe payments. Some customers need to do other more complex things like credit notes and overpayments, purchase orders, bills, which we can handle. And there's also some data you normally need to download from Xero. So you might not record payments in FileMaker, but you want to see if someone's paid. You might need to download your chart of accounts and your tax rates, and to help when generating invoices in FileMaker. I'll demonstrate this in a minute. So that led to the development of a solution that we now sell called fmAccounting Link for the Xero Edition, and that's a FileMaker solution, which I'll be demonstrating now. It's 100% unlocked. It essentially shows you how to do a lot of this stuff, how to authenticate, how to upload and download from Xero. It really wasn't designed to be used as is. When we built it, it was more about showing people how to do it, but a lot of people now using it exactly as it is, and use of a front end or an interface or a middleware between their existing FileMaker solution and Xero, or using it as a starting point to build a sort of a small business CRM for FileMaker that integrates with Xero out of the box. Okay, so let's actually, I'll just only got a few more slides. I might just finish those off. The other couple of things we're going to demonstrate today are, two online e-commerce platforms. So WooCommerce is the first one. It's a plugin for WordPress. So WordPress is a popular sort of website platform these days. It runs on PHP and MySQL. So for the many years, you've been able to integrate FileMaker with WordPress using their ESS feature, the external SQL sources feature. It's one of the most popular e-commerce platforms. It powers over 28% of all online stores. It's a free plugin, just like WordPress. They've had over 30 million downloads. It's all open source, so you can customize it to your heart's content. Like Xero, they've got a big community of developers who've extended it, and they also have an API. And you can get more information at woocommerce.com. So we had the similar problem to Xero, where we've been using WooCommerce for many years to host our online stores. And for a long time, we had used that ESS feature to pull down all our orders and upload product information and customer information and so on. And then one day out of the blue, our web hosting company switched off remote SQL access without any warning, and took us a couple of weeks to work out what had happened. And we weren't able to convince them to turn that back on. So we had to quickly come up with a solution, because every time we get an order online, we have to manually enter it into our main FileMaker CRM, and then we've got to get it into Xero. So we were trying to eliminate that whole sort of double data entry, manual entry process. So we turned to the WooCommerce API, and that lets us do things like upload to WooCommerce. So the main thing people really want to do is upload products. They don't want to, they store that in FileMaker, they don't want to then have to re-enter that into WooCommerce, and particularly if they've got a new photo or the price changes, or they want to delete it or add a new product. And the main thing you want to download from WooCommerce really is orders and customers. So every time you get an order, you want to be able to suck that down without having to re-enter that as well. And we've come up with a fmEcommerce link solution. Shopify is basically an alternative platform to WooCommerce. It's very popular. It's got over 500,000 businesses in over 175 countries. Companies like Tesla, Nestle, and so on use Shopify for their online store. It's not open source as such, but they do have a large community of Shopify apps and themes, and they also have an API, and that lets us do pretty much exactly the same thing as the WooCommerce one. We can upload to Shopify, and we can download from Shopify. We don't use Shopify in our business, but we had once we put out our WooCommerce one, we had quite a lot of people requesting a version of that for Shopify. So we were able to build that one sort of pretty quickly, but just the main difference being is the Shopify API works quite differently to the WooCommerce one. Okay, so that's it for my slides. So I'm going to run through 3 demos now. We'll start with the Xero, and then WooCommerce, and then Shopify. So happy to take questions as we go, or at the end, whatever works for you guys. Okay, so let me just hide that. Okay, so here's our fmAccounting link Xero Edition file. It's just running locally here. I think I'm using FileMaker 16. Yep. Okay, so the way this works is you have to first of all handle the authentication issue. So how do you link a FileMaker file to a Xero organization so it only communicates with that particular organization? So this is all handled through what they call a Xero private application or a public application. They have 3 different types of integration. We're using the private application model in our file, and it essentially involves an exchange of keys. So you click this button, it generates some keys. You copy one of those onto a Xero website, it generates a key, a consumer key, which we paste back in here. And you tell on the Xero website, you select which of your Xero companies you want to link this to, and that's it. And that process literally takes a minute or two. And then if we click the authenticate button, we've successfully authenticated. So I can now communicate through the Xero API, and I can upload data and I can download data, and it's all securely tied to my my particular Xero integration. And FileMaker is sort of different in terms of how the typical Xero add-on works. They normally are a public integration, and they have a sort of an open platform, whereas FileMaker, as you know, each customer's got their own solution and it's sort of running in their own environment. It's not a sort of a public app that everyone logs into. So you need to tie it down to a particular Xero application organization. And the other advantage of doing that this way is I can have office staff, give office staff the ability to push data between FileMaker and Xero, but they don't get access to Xero. They don't get a Xero login, so I don't have to worry about them getting access to sort of more confidential company information, sort of chart of accounts and balances and payroll and stuff. But they can certainly push data from FileMaker to Xero quite happily. So let's run through a typical thing. So normally when you set this up, you go and download some data from Xero. So I've gone and downloaded my chart of accounts. I'm going to go and download my tax rates. And I'll explain why we bother doing this in a minute. Xero have a thing called tracking categories, which are a bit like project codes, and my currency. So I've gone and downloaded all of that. I've also downloaded my list of products. And having downloaded all this information means when I create an invoice in FileMaker, I can reference this Xero data, and I can specify a Xero product code and a Xero chart of account and a Xero tax code. And that means everything just uploads nice and neatly, and I know exactly how it's all going to be allocated and coded when it ends up in Xero. So the first thing we've got to do is get a contact into Xero. So I've just done some basic data entry. I've put in David's contact details as a contact. So this structure resembles the Xero structure, where you have a company as your main contact. You have a main contact person. The contact has a status, and you can have other people. You can have, I think, 4 phone numbers and a few addresses. And all you really need to create a contact in Xero is a company name. You don't, and an email address. You don't need anything else. So, and if I was to upload an invoice, I don't have to upload the contact first. I can upload an invoice and create a contact all in one request. But for today's demo, we'll do that separately. So let's, I'm just going to log into my demo Xero account. So this is my sandbox, my play account, where I can do whatever I like and then don't have to worry about it. So Xero let you create a demo company, and it quickly populates it with all sorts of sample data. So it makes it really easy to start playing with this stuff. But if I go to contacts, and we'll do a search just to prove that there's no magic here. So if I search for David, the only David is a David Jones. And if I search for blue, there's no blue feather. So back over here in FileMaker, I'll click the push to Xero current record. You can also do a found set, and that's going to send this data from FileMaker to Xero. You can see it all happens very quickly. And I get back from Xero their unique primary key, their contact ID. So I'm just storing it in this field here. Normally you would hide that from users, but this is just to display how this all works. So once I've got that, and the API said it was successful in this field down here, which you'd normally hide, I'm storing the result of the API request, and it has a status of OK, and it's given me the Xero ID. So I know it worked. There's no second guessing. If it didn't work, I'd get an error message telling me why it failed. I might have had a mandatory field that was invalid or something like that. So if we go back here and do a search again, there's the blue feather groups come up. So I've controlled the field mapping through the script that does the upload, and it's obviously just populated the same data from the same fields into the appropriate location in Xero. And if someone was to make a change in Xero, so let's put it in the website, for example. So some of the fields you can upload to and you can't upload to. Let me just put in your website here. And we'll specify a couple of settings. So purchases, currency, and that'll do. And you'll notice down here, we've got the contact code CT1000. So I've actually populated that with my FileMaker primary key or contact ID. So that's another way of knowing which record is which in FileMaker and Xero. So let's save that. Okay, that's been updated. If I come back to FileMaker and click the update contact from Xero, I'm going to go the other way now. I'm going to pull data down from Xero to FileMaker, and you can see it's made a few changes. It's brought down the website. It's set a few settings here, so the 14 days of the following month for the invoices. What else did I can't remember what also changed? That was probably about it. One other thing you can also do is, which is popular, where you can update the balances from Xero. So you might be talking to a customer on the phone and you want to know if they have any outstanding amounts with your company. And in this case, there's nothing actually, because we haven't created any invoices or anything. But if there were, you'd see that data would be populated here. So you can get a live readout of what that customer owes us or doesn't owe us, or what we owe them if it was a supplier. Okay, so let's go and create a invoice for this contact. So this is your typical sort of FileMaker invoice screen. You've got a parent invoice record, and you could have line items for that invoice. So I'm going to create a couple of line items here. I'll do, say, 2 of those and 1 of these. And you can see this list is my product list that I downloaded from Xero before. So it doesn't have to work this way, but if you have an item list in your accounting program, and you can then download this and make it the same list in FileMaker, so you don't have to work off 2 different lists. And I can update that list from FileMaker or Xero. Okay, so let's make it, say, 10 of those. So I've got 2 line items here. I can override the price. It's put in the default price from the product that it downloaded. And I mentioned before we downloaded the chart of accounts, and this is one of the reasons why you do this. If you want to specify a particular chart of account at the line item level, you can do this here, and you can also do the same for the tax rate. So I can specify the tax rate at the line item level as well. If I was doing multi-currencies, I could specify the currency as well. And if they had a customer had a purchase order, put that in there as well. So I think I've got everything I need to push that invoice to Xero. So let's go and upload that from FileMaker to Xero. And that has been uploaded. And if that contact didn't exist, it would create that contact for me at the same time. So if I click the Open Invoice in Xero button, that'll take me straight to that particular invoice. And you can see there it's got the 2 line items with the same amount.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Losing.
Andrew, you there?
Don't think so.
I think we lost him.
Might have lost him.
That's a possibility.
Hope shows us his code, how he's doing it. That's what I want to see.
Well, I think it's a paid product.
Oh, okay.
I'll email him right now. Let's see here.
What part do you want to know about? The API part or the
Yeah.
FileMaker accounting part?
Oh, the API.
Mhm.
I was doing that with FileMaker. I was doing his request and handling the returns. Do you do much of that?
Zero. Ah.
He's gone.
The pun.
Oh no! Maybe there was a catastrophe in Australia. There are all these end of the world predictions. They happen all the time. They always say it's going to be the end
But
of the
not
world.
today. just-
Well, maybe it was for October 5th, and it's October 5th there
There.
now.
That's scary.
As soon as we
I heard
cross,
September 23rd
as
too,
soon as we
whatever it
cross
was.
the date line, you know,
Yeah.
it's very important we understand that the end of the world respects time zones. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's hit him.
Yeah, right.
It's hit him now, you know. Yeah.
That's a blowout.
We had some warning.
Warned him, he got warned us.
Right. Well, we have some warning. He gave us a warning.
Oh, my goodness.
Big clubs. It's big clubs.
That was supposed to be the end of the world as well, right? Some planet was going to crash into the
Oh, I
earth.
didn't hear that part.
I want one of those punch cards that every time you survive the end of the world.
I heard it's
Survive
September
time,
23rd, 26th.
survive 9 apocalypses, get your 10th apocalypse free. Yeah.
There it is.
It's back! Hey!
Sorry, I'm not sure what happened there. I think the internet dropped out for a second.
All right, so what was the last thing we heard? We heard, let's see.
Push the invoice up.
Yeah, we had just seen what happened in Xero with your 2-line invoice.
Okay, great. So can you still see my screen, or do I need to?
No, we got to set that up for
Oh.
sharing.
Great. Okay. Yep. So there's the invoice in Xero as it came from FileMaker. Now, yeah, I was just going to mention that some people use FileMaker also to record payments against an invoice. Some people just handle that with a sort of a bookkeeper and do it in the accounting software. But if you were to use FileMaker to record payments, we can do that here. So we can say it was paid into our business bank account, and that was this is all the bank account codes from Xero. If it was a check, you could put in like a check number, and we'll just make it a part payment of $1,000. So we'll upload that from FileMaker to Xero. Once again, that's come back with its own unique payment ID, so I know it worked. And we'll go and just refresh that invoice in Xero, and we can see the payments come through of $1,000, and it's got my reference number and the date and so on and so on. So if I now go back to my
We're supposed to pay you $1,000? Is that what this is?
that's right, yep.
On every occasion.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's Australian dollars, so it's about 80 cents to the dollar, so you're in your favour at the moment. Okay, so now if I go and update the balances for this contact from Xero, now I can see that Dave owes me $1,200. So if I'm talking to them on the phone, I can get a live picture of exactly what their current financial status is in terms of accounts receivable or accounts payable. Okay, so there's a lot more that I won't sort of go through. So you also have the ability to generate credit notes, just like you can in Xero, overpayments, prepayments. You can also add attachments. So if there was a particular contract or PDF or Excel file or whatever it might be, you can attach it to this invoice and upload it to Xero, and it'll be attached to the invoice in Xero. You can also, just like I can generate a typical FileMaker invoice and email that as a PDF. But some people like to use the Xero invoice for whatever reason. So this button here will download the PDF invoice from Xero. And if I spit that out to my desktop, you can see it's there. And I could actually send that to the customer. And one of the advantages of Xero is you can integrate online payment services. So see this button here, View and Pay Online Now. I might link up PayPal or Stripe or another credit card gateway that Xero support, and customers can click that button. It'll take them to a website. They enter their credit card details, click Pay, and that does a couple of things. That marks that invoices having been paid. It does that sort of reconciliation part, and I don't have to sort of do any data entry. It just sort of gets marked paid automatically. So Xero have done a lot of studies, and I think they find that if you include an online payment link, your invoice is going to get paid like 30% quicker than it would otherwise. You can also update the status from Xero of this invoice. And if we go back to the home screen, we've got lots of other examples around bills, so accounts payable, purchase orders, bank transactions and journal transactions, plus we've got a bit of support for the payroll API, so you can record employees and timesheets and upload timesheets from FileMaker to Xero as well. So there's a lot to this file. We basically add in on examples as customers request them, or as the Xero API changes. So at their recent conference a few weeks ago in Australia, Xero announced they're going to have a projects module, and that will have an API when it's released. So we'll update this to include a project sort of section, so you can do project tracking in FileMaker and upload that to Xero. So yeah, any questions at this point?
I have. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question. Is your API in addition to using the FileMaker accounting, or is that incorporated within your FileMaker accounting system?
Well, it's the Xero API that we're using, so we're just this FileMaker Solutions program to use the Xero API. So that's all. Xero don't charge for that. That's just
So you don't have a
sort of
separate
platform.
plugin or anything that you're using. You have that incorporated into your accounting system.
Yeah.
Versus somebody already having an accounting system and you integrating that would be
I think Xero is the
custom.
accounting system,
okay.
and then this tool pushes the data from your FileMaker solution to Xero. Like
Exactly.
you make an order in
This accounting
FileMaker,
system.
you can push it up to Xero, and Xero is your accounting system.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I have a question. Can you show how we would, or can you integrate this with an existing solution? So like if I have a table of contacts and companies or orders, can this get integrated and use those tables, or how would that work to connect that to an existing solution?
Yeah. So that's why we originally built it, essentially. So to give customers or FileMaker developers a learning tool, really, to as to how to integrate FileMaker with Xero. So we never really expected people to use this file. We put sort of the minimal amount of effort into its functionality, because it was really just about showcasing how to get FileMaker talking to Xero. But people have started using it for various reasons. But yeah, the idea is you can we've got a page on our website actually that sort of walks you through this stuff. But yeah, we've got an integration page, and the idea is, yeah, you follow these steps and you can pick out the examples you want. But yeah, so you go through these steps, you set up your private application and so on, and then you copy the custom functions and the tables and recreate whatever relationships and fields you need. But yeah, this file is completely unlocked. So yeah, the idea was that you could copy and paste as much as you can, recreate that in your solution, and then you'll end up with a button in your FileMaker solution that uploads an invoice to Xero or uploads a contact to Xero. So it's all, apart from having to recreate the table occurrences and relationships, which you may already have, you can copy and paste pretty much everything using FileMaker Pro Advanced. So value lists, custom functions, scripts, tables. And then the main thing you probably got to do is a bit of field mapping to map the fields from your invoice contacts table to what the API expects in terms of how the data needs to be structured to send it to Xero. So
Okay.
yes, is the short answer to that question here.
How long do you think that takes to do?
So we do quite a lot of it ourselves for customers that don't have a FileMaker developer or for us to do it. And normally within half a day to a day, we've got them authenticating. So the steps we normally follow are: you get the authentication bit working, which doesn't take very long. You get the functionality to download things like chart of accounts and tax rates, maybe tracking categories. And that doesn't take very long because you can copy and paste that. And if you rename the table occurrences the same name as ours, when you paste everything, it all just maps up neatly. and you can rename them later. And then we give them the ability to upload a contact and then upload an invoice. So yeah, normally by between half a day and a day, we've got them to the point where they can do all that functionality. So yeah, a good day's work will have them up and running with Xero integration, uploading a contact invoice and downloading the accounts and tax rates and authentication. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Okay. So let's close out of that file. So let's do a WordPress demo now. So anybody out there using WooCommerce or WordPress?
No.
No, sorry.
No.
That's okay. Passwords. Okay, that's the wrong one. No, that's the wrong one. Okay, so this file looks very familiar. It's based off the Xero file. So yeah, when we build all these things, we didn't really think people would use them. So we just try to keep them simple and show them how to do it, not make it look pretty and latest sort of design trends and that. So this file solves a similar problem to the Xero one. It's about, I don't want to have to manually re-enter my online order data in FileMaker again. So typically a customer who's using WooCommerce, they get an email saying they've had a new sale, and you get very excited, and then someone's purchased 6 line items, and then you've got to manually either copy and paste or retype all that information into FileMaker because it's a new customer, and then you're making lots of typos along the way, and that can take 5 to 10 minutes per order. So we've got some customers that are doing tens or hundreds of orders a week, and they've got staff who were previously spending 2 hours a day just doing data entry. Now they're doing no data entry and doing much more sort of productive work. Yes, so very exciting, and we use this every day in our company, so we don't have to enter any of our online orders. We've got 2 WooCommerce sites out there at the moment. So this works a sort of similar way. It uses the WooCommerce API. You have to authenticate. So in WooCommerce, it's pretty simple. You go to the settings page, and there's an API tab, and you enable the API, and then you create a pair of keys, a consumer key and a consumer secret. And so that's what I've done here. And you give it read or write privileges, and you tell it what user it's associated with, so it knows what level of access it has. And if you're just downloading orders, it needs read access. If you want to be uploading products and data from FileMaker to Xero, it needs read and write access. So that's all set up there. So here's my WooCommerce list of products, and here's my WooCommerce list of orders. This is my sort of staging dummy site, so it's all dummy data. So yeah, I've put in my WooCommerce keys and the address of my WooCommerce test site, so I can click Get Account Creation Settings just to see if this works. And yep, that all worked. So once again, I'm storing the last API result in the field just so I can see what it looks like. You typically hide that. And this is all JSON. So our solutions work with FileMaker 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And up until 16, there's never been any native JSON supports, but now you can. So we've used a plugin to do the encoding and the decoding of the JSON data, as well as the communication with the REST API. But now you could actually do a lot of this, if not all of this, natively, I think, in 16. So that's our next project, to update all our products to use the native functions in FileMaker 16. So the main thing is for this product is getting orders. So I might want to download all my orders or just get all the orders between a series of dates. So let's just have a look here. There's some orders in April and May. So I'm going to go back a bit in time. So I want to get all the orders from the 1st of April to the end of May. And this is normally something you do every day. You get all the orders from yesterday. So let's go and download those orders. And here they are. They've all come down successfully. So I've just saved someone sort of a couple of hours of data entry work. So that's the main reason we built this, particularly for our business. We got to get the orders out of WooCommerce into FileMaker, so they're in our main CRM, and then we actually take it the next step and we end up pushing those to Xero as well. So let's go and have a look at a individual order. And so for an order, you get all the customer details, their billing address and their shipping address. You get all the line items for each of those for that order. And if there are any taxes, you get the tax items. So this is just how WooCommerce is structured. If they used a coupon, if there were any refunds, any notes. So I can see that it was processed, and then it was approved, and then it was completed through the payment gateway. And this generated some download permissions, and it reduced the stock on hand by 1 as well. Now, there's all these other parts to WooCommerce, like tax rates, tax classes, categories, just sort of your boring sort of shop setup stuff. The main thing really is around products and variations. So you could have a product like a t-shirt that could have lots of different sizes or colors, so small, medium, large, red, green, blue. And WooCommerce lets us handle all of those, as well as virtual products and just one-off products as well. So I just started creating a new product. So the main thing people like to use this for is getting orders, but also uploading products. So a lot of customers have a very complex inventory requirements, and FileMaker is great for handling that because you can customize it to your heart's content. But they don't want to have to then copy paste or recreate that in WooCommerce each time, particularly for simple things like price changes or variations and that sort of stuff. So I created a really simple product here, my Atlanta group shoes. And I've filled in a couple of fields, the description, short and the long description. I've given us a status and a type and a catalog. I've given it a price, chosen the tax status. So this has been downloaded from WooCommerce. And I've set some inventory values as well, give it a SKU and stock quantity and back order status. So you can also do a lot of other things like set the shipping details. You can link it to upsells, cross-sells. It can be grouped product, and you can have variations and so on. So, and you can apply categories and tags. So I could say it's a t-shirt. Actually, it should be a shoe. I could go and create a shoe one if I had to, and give it a tag. Say vintage, and the won't go into attributes as well. You can really classify things. This isn't a download. So images. So the way WooCommerce works is you can supply a URL to an image that you have stored on some other website, and it'll ingest or download that for you. And there's some other advanced attributes you can set. So that's pretty much everything I think I need. So let's go and upload this to WooCommerce. And you can see just like Xero, I'm storing the WooCommerce ID here. So I'm going to hit push to WooCommerce. And we'll just do the current record. You can also do a found set of records as well. And this is uploading all the product data to WooCommerce. It's authenticating, and because I'm uploading a couple of images, they're going to take a moment to ingest at the WooCommerce end. But you can see that was successful. So now I've got a WooCommerce ID, so I know it worked. And there's my response from WooCommerce if I need to check that for any errors, for example. So if I come over to my list of products in WooCommerce, you can see there's my Atlanta group shoes come across. It's got the category, and it's got the tag. It's got my 2 photos I uploaded, my description and the price and inventory details and so on and so on. So that's people who use WooCommerce a lot and have complex inventory requirements love this, because they can just click a button essentially and get it out of FileMaker into WooCommerce. And say you had a price change or you're doing a sale, you could set a sale date or just simply change the price to $79.95. And if I upload that, so we're doing a full upload again. We're uploading everything back to WooCommerce. So, and if I just refresh this, we'll see the price has changed to $79.95. So, and we can also view those images. So I can download those images so I can see what they look like without having to go and log into WooCommerce. And I can also upload customers. So if I go and just quickly download all my customers, I could also, there's some basic information about a customer, but I could create a new customer and upload that. So let's make David a customer, and we'll give my username. Okay, I think I could simply push this to. Okay, so got an error there. So depending on how your store's set up, you may or may not pass in. Passwords. So let me check my setup. Okay, so I'll have to go and check my store and see what my settings are for that. But the other thing we've also I've gone and downloaded all my products, all my variations, all my products, all my variations, all the store settings, all the attributes and categories, and I can update these in FileMaker and push them back to WooCommerce, and I can generate coupon codes as well. So if you had a particular wanted to create a new coupon code, so let's create a new code and call it ATL. Then we could make it say 15 percentage discount. It might expire at the end of October, and you can choose extra attributes about what products it applies to and so on. And then we can, I think I've got enough for that, and that's been uploaded to WooCommerce. So if we go have a look at our coupons in WooCommerce, there's my coupon that I just uploaded. So all live, all direct from FileMaker to WooCommerce. And once again, we also support updating from WooCommerce to FileMaker. So if I was to make a change here, so let's put this up to $200. We'll update that in WooCommerce. If we go back to FileMaker, we can click update product from WooCommerce, and that price should change to $200, which it just did then. So that's the quick and dirty demonstration of the fmEcommerce link. Any questions about this?
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, it looks like you've covered it.
Great. And then I'll just squeeze in a quick demo of the Shopify one. And the Shopify one is very similar. It just works. It just takes into account all the differences between WooCommerce and Shopify. But anyone out there using Shopify or have customers using Shopify?
Yep, sorry.
That's okay. No. So it's I think Shopify is a Canadian company from memory, and it's certainly got a big global presence as well.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys use?
So very similar to WooCommerce, you set up some API keys and you paste those into FileMaker. And if I click get Shopify settings, this will tell us whether it worked or not.
Okay.
So that was successful. So I can do things like download customers, orders, products, and so on. So I've downloaded my products. If I was to go and let's go back to Shopify and we'll go to orders. Okay, I've got big stack of orders here. So let's get all the ones in April, for example. Okay, we'll get that date range. So for each order, there's a lot of data about an order. There's line items, text items, shipping items, fulfillments, payments. There's a stack of data about it does your heading at times with Shopify, but that's a order that's come down. So let's go and have a look at one of these. So you can see for this order, it's brought down pretty much everything that I need to know. It's got any order items, any taxes, shipping items, transactions, which I don't have, discount codes, fulfillments, refunds, and notes. So there's a whole stack of information going on there. If we import so it's imported the customers as part of that process of downloading the orders for me as well. If we have a look at the products, this works exactly the same way as the WooCommerce one, but Shopify obviously has a number of differences. You can create options, and you can create variants as well. It's a bit like WooCommerce, so different sizes, different colors, different variations. You can have images as well. Shopify does allow me to actually upload a image from a container field. So let's just quickly create a new product. Okay. This into the shirts category. Make it a Bookman shirt. Be global. Don't think I need that. Images, so we'll add an image, and in this case, I'm just going to drop a image into a container field, and we'll make it position number 1. Shopify also has a concept about collections. You can have custom collections and smart collections, and these are where you create sort of product groups. So they could be smart collections, say all products where the price is between these two numbers. Custom collections is where you manually add particular products into a collection, and when they go to the Shopify site, they can, or your store, they'll be able to see that collection. Let's see, what else do I need? Need the price. No, I don't need that. Let's add a variant. We'll call it green. $5. And we'll just make this up. Very heavy shirt, and position number 1. Okay, so I think I've got everything I need there. So let's try and upload this, and if I missed a mandatory field, we'll get an error. Okay, so inventory policy. So we've got a invalid option there. So let's go and find our inventory policy. Let's see. Okay, so we need to make some changes here. So we'll say continue, 200, oops. If I can manage that, I think that's...
Oh, did you try to sell something you were out of?
Absolutely. Okay, I think that's what I was missing. So let's try that again. Okay, that was better. So now it came back. And once again, we get the Shopify ID. So I know it was successfully uploaded. So if I go to my products in Shopify, what do we call this? Atlanta shirts. So let's find it, and there it is. So there you see it came through, and it's got the green t-shirt that I uploaded from the FileMaker container field. So once again, if I make some changes here, I can save that in Shopify. And back in FileMaker world, I can click the update button, and that'll update it from Shopify to FileMaker. And there's the description that we just entered. So once again, there's lots more to this. The price rules are like coupons. Collections is where you can start grouping all your products. You can download some other data from your shop setup data from Shopify as well. But the main thing is, being able to upload products from FileMaker to Shopify and download the orders from Shopify to FileMaker. So any questions about that or anything?
So if we wanted to, for all three of these options, since it's an open file, would we be able to take the scripts, modify them a little bit, and run them on a schedule to have it just kind of run and sync in the background on FileMaker server?
Yes, you can. You can run this server side, so prefer script on server or scheduled scripts in the FileMaker server admin console. Just got to remember, we had a customer go down this road recently that FileMaker Cloud doesn't support server-side schedules yet, so you can't schedule anything if you're using FileMaker Cloud for hosting. But if you're just using regular FileMaker server, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So you could have a script downloading the orders overnight, and they would just appear there when users came in the morning, for example. Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, it seems thorough.
And yeah, we've got trial versions. You can request a trial version off our website for all of these products. If you want to download it, have a play with it, or you've got a customer that wants to have a play with it.
Well, that sounds really good. Does anyone else have any questions about anything?
What's the pricing on it?
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Pricing.
Yeah, so I forgot about that.
Favorite question.
So there's
Is the fmEcommerce link for both WooCommerce and Shopify together, or are there two separate ones?
everything's separate. Yes, so there's fmEcommerce link for WooCommerce and Shopify. So we've got three different types of licenses. We've got a company license, which is $495 Australian dollars. So in American dollars, that's about 80 cents to the US dollar. So take 20% off, roughly.
Coupon.
Default coupon.
Enter coupon code USD.
Yes. And we have if you were selling a SBA FileMaker solution, like a vertical product, we've got a license for vertical solutions. And if you were to do this for lots of customers, we have a developer license where you can do unlimited number of integrations with unlimited number of customers. So that's $14.95 Australian, and the vertical's $8.95 Australian. So that's the same price for Shopify and WooCommerce. And the Xero one, I think is pretty much the same, actually. Yes, it's identical, yep. So company license, vertical license, and unlimited developer license.
Good. Seems like a deal. That seems like a lot of work.
Yes, well, that's the other thing that people realize, that they're buying a time-saving tool. So we've spent hundreds of hours building these and maintaining these. You can save all that time and having to learn how all these APIs work just by buying an existing solution and just understanding how the scripts work, and then copying and pasting that and mapping some fields essentially in your FileMaker or customers' FileMaker solutions. Yeah, so like all these products, they're all they're time-saving tools for the developer at the end of the day, or the customer. Yeah.
So the accounting link is just the standalone version right there. Mainly the working with the APIs, uploading and downloading. Is that what's 160 Australian?
That one is if someone was to hire us to do, say, an integration for them, that's our hourly rate for integration support.
Oh, okay.
But the company license is $4.95, the vertical is $8.95, and the developer is $14.95.
Okay.
Okay.
And Xero is by the month. It's $9 a month for the starter. Standard is 30 and premium is 70.
Yeah, so Xero is a subscription-based
Mhm.
cloud accounting software with various tiers depending on, I think, users and features that you require.
Woohoo! Been ignored by Intuit long enough.
Yeah, so most of the growth in North America is people leaving QuickBooks and migrating to Xero. I think I saw a slide yesterday that said every 15 minutes a certain number of customers have left or have converted from Quicken or QuickBooks Online to Xero. So in Australia it's from MYB, and in the UK it's from Sage. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. And I think.
God.
So, a question for everyone, I guess, before we go here. What's our next meeting topic going to be on?
You want to talk about REST APIs?
Yeah.
I'll
I'd
be
like
our
to-
last Wednesday night. Look at this.
Yeah, REST APIs using curl and JSON.
You have something to present on that?
Yeah.
I have, up to a point.
Okay. Well, great. Well, we'll start with that. And
No,
then,
but I would need a lot of help.
well, sure, of course.
To solve
Yeah.
it.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can talk to me. I'll talk to you.
So was that video you sent me? You sent me a link on.
Oh, from
Yes.
Defcon. Have you seen any of the videos on it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll send you a link.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that would be great.
You have all of this information, email and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Andrew. And thanks everyone for coming in here today as well. And we'll end the broadcast for now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.